Dear honorable guests, welcome to join today's Indonesia and Taiwan ITS Bilateral webinar. We'll start in 5 minutes. Before the webinar started, all the attendees, please turn your WebEx into mute mode and close your camera to ensure the internet is stable. But speakers, please online. Thank you. Oh. Good morning, everyone. Apa kabar? I am Murphy's son, host today's webinar. We're so excited to invite 6 speakers, all are heavyweight celebrities in ITS International Society, especially in Indonesia and Taiwan. All speakers, please open your cameras, and let's welcome all join from ITS Indonesia and ITS Taiwan. Thank you. First of all, let me invite the President ITS Indonesia, Dr. William Sabada. He is the President of Director of MRT Jakarta, currently in charge of building and operating in first metro in Indonesia. He has over 27 years and solid experience in development field. He has served high-level government positions as a chief assistant at the Presidential Unit for Development, Supervision and Control, the new global initiative in on Sustainable Development Goals. And he got a PhD in Transport Geography from New Zealand. Yes, welcome, William, to give us opening remark.
Thank you, Murphy. Good morning, everybody. How are you there in Taiwan, in Taipei? And greetings from Indonesia, Jakarta. First of all, let me greet you one by one. It's Mr. Philip Sang, Board of Directors of ITS World Congress. Good morning. Mr. Murphy San, Director, BOD ITS Asia Pacific of ITS Taiwan. And attending here, Mr. Richard Wu, if I'm not mistaken, Vice President of PETSI. Mr. Chiang Pang Liu, BOD of ITS Taiwan and Deputy Director Transportation Bureau of Kaohsiung City Government. And Mr. Henry Chiang, Head of GoShare Gogoro. And from the Indonesian side, I was here accompanied by my Secretary General, Mr. Muhammad Kamaluddin, who is also the President Director of PT Jaklingko Indonesia, Dr. Eka Priya Anas, member of Indonesia Toll Road Authority in academic aspect from Ministry of Public Works and Housing, and Mrs. Ellen Tangkudung, transportation experts, who is also lectures in University of Indonesia, and all members of ITS Taiwan and ITS Indonesia, and ladies and gentlemen. First of all, I would like to thank the ITS of Taiwan for joining us in the meeting today, the bilateral webinar between ITS Indonesia and ITS Taiwan, that we agreed to give the title Now and Future Smart Transportation. I believe this is a very relevant topic for both countries, and I hope this webinar can promote and strengthen the relationship between both countries, especially between ITS Indonesia and ITS Taiwan. ITS Indonesia is a platform for development of smart mobility and the development of a digital transportation ecosystem, which aim to support the economic growth, the social equity, mobility, and environmental sustainability. We are now in the period of organizations from 2020 to 2023, and I believe that the partnership, the cooperation between ITS Indonesia and ITS Taiwan has been gone long before our period. So we would like to nurture the relationships and working together closely with ITS Taiwan. So hope this webinar will strengthen, will nurture the relationship between both countries. There are 5 focuses on the action plan of ITS Indonesia at the moment. First, we are promoting digital transformation for transport development. All kinds of digital ecosystems. We are building initiative mobility as a service, like what we are doing now in Jakarta, which will be provided later on the webinar. We are also promoting what we call integrated urban transport systems, especially in the Jakarta context, because now we are integrating all the public transport in Jakarta. We are promoting electric transport, electric vehicles. Just last month, we are promoting the ecosystem of electric vehicles in Bali in the preparations of Indonesia presidency on G20, because Bali will be hosting that G20 presidency in October. We are pushing the smart driving and logistics. And last but not least is we are promoting safety and healthy mobility. Today's webinar, we are going to focus on 3 issues here. First is actually related to the function of our toll road system, multi-lane free flow, which is actually one of the priority in the ecosystems of creating safety driving, in creating digital transformation in transport development. The second one, we are going to talk about mobility as a service, which is actually part of our focus as well. And the last one, we are going to talk about electronic traffic law enforcement, which is also part of our focus. So I hope that webinar will be useful for both of us. And from this webinar, we can promote further concrete actions that will benefit both countries. I think I stop here. Thank you and all the best with the webinar for the rest of the day. Thank you.
Thank you, William, for the opening remark. Indeed, through today's webinar, we hope to share different practice and learn from each other. Next, allow me to introduce the representative from ITS Taiwan, Philip Chen, the Board of Directors of ITS World Congress, to give us a few words. Philip is International Committee, ITS Taiwan, Executive Vice President, Far Eastern Telecommunication Company. He has over 25 years experience on global ICT telecommunication professional. And he was the president of Ericsson Taiwan before. That's it. Welcome, Philip.
Chairman Dr. Sabanda, honorable guests and speakers, friends from ITS Indonesia and ITS Taiwan, good morning. Welcome to the first bilateral webinar between Taiwan and Indonesia. 2022 will be the first post-pandemic year where we will see new transportation and smart cities technology enabled by 5G, IoT, big data, machine learning, artificial intelligence become reality. ITS as the backbone of country's economy, we will need to transform both digitally and physically to accommodate all the demands driven by these new technology in order to facilitate the anticipated growth in post-pandemic era. Since every country is at different stage of ITS development, success stories sharing and bilateral cooperation become very important for each country to advance its ITS system. Therefore, we expect this bilateral webinar will kick off the cooperation between Taiwan and Indonesia, where we will exchange ideas, successful stories, establish contacts for cases to be followed up. Most importantly, to serve as a beginning of a regular cooperation forum for both countries' ITS community. Last but not the least, on behalf of ITS Taiwan, I encourage you all to actively participate in this webinar and make the best out of it. We will certainly follow up on opportunities arise from this conference, and thank you for your attention. Thank you.
Thank you, Philip. Yes, we do hope to meet each other face-to-face at ITS World Congress this year in Los Angeles. Before we move to speech, can we take a group photo? Hey, big smile, please. Is there any? Is it done? One more. Thumbs up. One more. Thank you. Okay, let's now invite our first speakers, the Vice President and CTO of FETC, Richard Wu, to share ITS Taiwan ETC smart highway, multi-lane free flow etc., and law enforcement. The Richard Wu is more than 20 years operation and development experience focusing etc. Let's welcome Richard.
Okay, thank you, Murphy. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I will share out my slide. Okay, can you see the slide?
Yes.
Okay. Today I will introduce our Taiwan Martin for ETC and our law enforcement for the unpaid toll. Starting from the overview of Taiwan Martin 4 and what's the key success factor of Martin for ETC, and the final one is our overseas business footprint. FETC founded in 2004. At 2014, we start to launch the RFID Martin 4 ETC. Our core services, tolling as a service, mobility as a service. At 2017, we established FETC International to do the foreign business. Currently, we have 8 million vehicles with our RFID tag. Every day, we reach the 17 million transactions. Right now, the ETC usage is 100%. It's because no matter the vehicle with the RFID tag or without RFID tag is our user. Because in Taiwan right now, we don't have a manual toll. We don't have other DSRC ETC, only RFIDs. The RFID penetration rate right now is 93%. The billing accuracy rate reached the 99.9999%. The bad debt rate less than 0.3%. Why we can achieve that is because we have an end-to-end robust ETC system, and we have a very sophisticated law enforcement mechanisms. And because of the successful achievements for the past 6 years, we got many awards, including 2017 WISA Awards, 2016 IRF Awards, 2015 IBTTA Toll Excellence Awards, 2015 eAsia Awards, 2015 ITS World Congress Awards. And our business scope, including consulting service, we have a full range of product and solution on the ETC, on the parkings. We also provide the implementation and operation service. Okay. So what's the key success factor from barrier-based ETC to Martin 4? I highlight 6 points. The first thing is the step-by-step migration approach from barrier-based to Martin 4. Second, government need to lead, push, and promote Martin 4 policies. Also, government need to lead on legal framework and enforcement mechanisms, and need to design a sustainable framework and mechanism for major stakeholders and publics. Robust ETC system to earn people's trust and also avoid bad debt. Major stakeholder communication, public communication to achieve public acceptance. And I will elaborate on that yellow colors later. Okay. The first thing is the migrations. This is our Taiwan experience. In 2006, we're starting to use the IR old book like Indonesia. At that time, the old book cost $40. So we let people spend $40 to buy the old book. And you can see that once we reach the 40%, the penetration rate cannot get higher. Even though we put a lot of effort on promotions, public communications, still cannot let the penetration get higher. So at 2010 and 2011, we start to evaluate other solutions. We try to from technology thinking to service thinking. So at 2011, we discussed with the government, we try to use the RFIDs. And we're starting to have a proof of service. It's not POC, it's the proof of service. That proof of service trial is very successful at 2011. and also let the government have the confidence that after 2 years, they can announce to the public they will migrate to the full RFID multi-end free-flow. So we're starting from the success POC trial first before migrations. And once government has confidence, so government announced to the public after 2 years, the current DSRC OB will be sunset, and also no more manual toll, no more toll plaza, only RFID multi-end free-flow. That is the key point. Need to communicate to the public that the other toll method will be end before 2014. And also government have policy support. The policy support is the people use the RFID ETC can get the 10% toll fare discounts. This is incentive for the user migrate to the RFID ETC. Also from FETC side, we buy back all the DSRC OBU. And during the migration periods, we provide free RFID tag for the public. So this is another incentive for the public. Let them migrate from the DSRC, from the manual toll to the RFID ETC. And during this period, because the penetration grows, as you can see the green lines. So we open new RFID ETC lane at toll plaza based on the RFID utilizations. So because the utilization rate grows, so we gradually open the ETC lane at the toll plaza. In the meantime, we concurrently construct over 300 gantries around the island for the future multi-end free-flow. So that is a very busy period around that 1.5 years. At that time, government saying that if you want to migrate to the multi-end free-flow, provide this kind of service, the RFID penetration rate need to reach the 65%. This is the minimum requirements. But from our target, because only 65% means that we still need a lot of effort to deal with the rest 35% without RFID tag. So our target is want to reach 80%. The result is that at the end of 2013, we reached 84%. That makes us can successfully launch the RFID service. This is the key point, step-by-step migration, because different countries have different situations. So you need to think about what's your step-by-step migration plan. Okay. Next one is the law enforcement. Because it's the free flow, no more barriers. So people can go get on the highway, they need to pay the money by themselves. So we have a very complicated law enforcement and enforcement mechanism. I try to simplify by this slide. From FETC, once you use the highway, you did not pay the money, or your wallet bank account don't have sufficient balance. We have a grace period, roughly it's 2 weeks. Within these 2 weeks, you can pay the money through our channel, through the convenience, through the web to pay the toll. We have grace period 2 weeks. But if you pay within the grace period, you cannot get the 10% toll fare discounts. And after the 2 weeks grace period, we will send the ordinary mail to the people. It's the notice to the people. So roughly 3 weeks, we will send the ordinary mail. If you still don't pay the money, we will issue the register mail after 6 weeks, roughly. So once we issue the register mail to the people, you not only need to pay the toll, you also need to pay the service fee because the register mail have costs on that. And if once you get the register mail, you still not pay the toll, after 1 month after register mail, we will have another penalty ticket per day. Meaning if you traveling on the highway for consecutive 2 days, you will get 2 tickets. Every ticket is 300 NT dollars. Roughly is the 10 to 11 US dollars. And if you got the register mail, still not pay the money, after 1 year, we will collect all the information from the Highway Bureau to the administration enforcement agents. And the threshold is that get the registered mail after 1 year, still not pay the money. And also the total unpaid toll over $300. Those information will pass to the administration enforcement agents. So the administrative enforcement agent will issue a final later notice to the drivers. And if you still not pay the money, the government agency can deduct the toll fee from your salaries, from your bank account. Also can get your vehicles or your property by auction to pay the toll. So this is the mechanism that we use in Taiwan. So that's the reason why we can reduce the bad debt less than 0.3%. But the important thing is that the different countries have different situations. So how to establish a comprehensive legislative framework for enforcement violations? This is very important. Different country, different situation. You need to design your enforcement mechanism. But you cannot rely on only legal framework and enforcement mechanism, because on these environments, it includes many government agencies. For example, you will have a toll operators, you have a highway agency, vehicle registration agency, police, or court. So how to have integrated information and consensus for various agencies to facilitate enforcement, management, and prosecution of toll violators. That also is another key things that you need to prepare before you launch the multi-lane free-flow service. So with the legal framework enforcement mechanism, it's not enough. You need to have a robust end-to-end ETC system to support that. And the robust ETC solutions based on the vehicle identifications. Why? Because once vehicle pass through your deduction point, previously, we only can recognize the vehicle by license plate. But license plate sometimes dirty, banded, damaged, fake, blurred, or without license plate. So our way is that we put RFID tag at every vehicle. And the RFID tag have a break-on removal functions, meaning once you remove the tag from the vehicles, the tag will be broken, cannot work anymore. So we can 100% sure this tag on the vehicle, once you detect the vehicles through the RFID tag ID information, we still can recognize the license plate numbers. That's the vehicle identifications. This is very important for the toll collections, how you can identify the vehicles. Why this is important? Because this kind of vehicle identification is the basic for the ETC solutions. Because ETC solution, the key point is identification and validation. We need to validate three things: identity validations, transaction validations, and location validations. Once vehicle get on the highway, go through our checking point, we need to identify the vehicles. We also need to identify this vehicle is the passenger vehicle, truck, bus, trailers, based on the vehicle class and tow class. And we also need to identify these vehicles is belong to ambulance, police, or some exempt vehicles, or some army vehicles, special vehicle. We need to identify the identities. Based on the identified identities, we need to do the transaction validations. We need to verify the transaction by their class, by their status, by their journey, by their promo code to do the transaction validations. And the last important one is the local location validations. We need to 100% sure this vehicle is on the highway, not on the road near the highway, or on the road beneath the highway, if the highway is elevated highways. So identity validation, transaction validation, location validation is very important. We need to 100% sure this vehicle is on highway, goes to our deduction point, so that we can collect the toll, ask them to pay the money or deduct the money. So that's the basic for the ETC solutions. And in Taiwan, we build the gantries. Go to our gantry point. We need to 100% sure this vehicle. That's the basic for the Martin Free for ETC. And for the communications, we segment different sectors for the stakeholder communications. The first is government. Second is highway BOTs, highway users, and politicians, NGOs, publics, opinion leaders, medias. Different segments have different treatment, have their different interests and concern parts. For example, for the governments, of course, legal and enforcement framework, not only for the government agency internal communication, also for the external communications. And also government will prepare to communicate the benefit for the Martin Free for ETC, economic benefit, social benefit, environmental benefit, something like this. Also public acceptance and cross agency benefits, because different government agencies have their different target. What's the benefit for the highway police? What's the benefit for the vehicle registration bureau? It's all different. So you will need to have this kind of stakeholder communication folders for that. For the highway BOTs, of course, they care the revenue assurance. They care the data integrity.
2 more minutes.
And also the seamless migration, how to migrate from the current legacy system to the ETC and the business models. This is outsourced for some company to provide the service, or they build by their own, provide the service and link with the backend systems. And no matter what, definitely need to have a workforce planning for that. And they care the user convenience. Also care if customer have complaint, who handle the complaint. For the highway users, they care seamless travel, convenient service. Is there extra expense for ETC, billing accuracy, also privacy? For the NGO, for the opinion leaders, of course, the bright side is the economic, social, environmental benefit. But for the dark side, they care monopolies, they care big brother watchings. These all need to prepare for that. So this is what we call stakeholder communications. And also, you need to start to discuss by
1 more
different
minute.
stakeholders.
Thank you.
Okay. Okay, by different segment. For example, enterprise, enterprise customers, bus customers, trailer customers, rental vehicle customers, taxi customers, and also general awareness through TV, radio, newspaper, banner on the highways, social media, third-party spokespersons. Last one is our overseas business footprint. FETCI founded in 2017. For the past 5 years, we have many projects around overseas, including Philippines, Vietnam, Malaysia, India, Thailand, Kazakhstan, even East Europe. And I will elaborate more on the Thailand and Malaysia projects. Last year, we got the Thailand M6 M81 RFID Smart Highway project. We joined the BGSR consortium. We are the designated contractors for the ETC and the traffic management. The total highway length for the M6 M81 is 330 kilometers. It's the 30 years BOT. Our role is for the 3 years importation and also support for 10 years operations. The design is the new design. We give Thailand design is the entry Martin 3.4 smart highway system. So what's the entry Martin 3.4 is that this, because the M6 and MP1 is the closed highways. So the entrance we suggest is a Martin 3.4. And the exit still have barriers, still have toll plaza, so still can keep the money. And with this kind of design, so the entrance, they don't need to build the toll plaza, they don't need to hire people, don't need to manage the toll plaza facilities. So it's the key point that we can win the bid. And because of that, Thailand government willing to adopt the Martin free fall because the M6 and M81 need to implement after 3 years. They cannot wait 3 years. So last year, they also conduct a Martin free fall ETC trial on the current highway M9. We passed the trial. So Thailand government immediately have a project at the M9. They build the Martin free fall gantries. It's the first Martin free fall gantry in Thailand. We use our RFID Martin free fall ETC combined with our AI MPR, AI VC, and our backend toll collection system together. Actually, the service starting at this month, and Thailand government also plan to extend to the current M7 and exact highway. Also adopt this kind of design at the future new highway, such as M5, M8, M82. And for the Malaysians, we also plan to build the first Martin free fall gantry at the Malaysians on the Bilateral highways. Our solution is the same, RFID Martin free fall ETC with AI MPR with our open payment. And we also act as a technical advisor for the Plus. Plus also implement their RFID system on the North-South Expressway on this use. We act as a technical advisors to support Plus on that. And we also have other projects in some Asia countries. For example, Philippines. We act as a consultant. We also sell the RFID tag. Last year, we sell 1.5 million RFID tag to Philippines. Vietnam, we act as a consultant, also sell some RFID MPR equipment at Vietnam. India used RFID, but last year, India government, the highway authorities want to try the Martin free fall ETC. So they conduct a POC at India. We work with our local partner, build the first RFID Martin free fall gantry at India. Help them to do this kind of POC test. So that's my today's presentation. I know I over time, sorry. So this is my presentation. Thank you for your listening.
Thank you, Richard, for sharing the ETC and law enforcement in Taiwan and the Asia countries. The next, I would like to invite Dr. Ika Priyansa, the member of Indonesia Toll Road Authority, Ministry of Public Works and Housing, to share planning and operation in Indonesia. Yeah, Dr. Ika is a PhD is economy and business. Also, master is a science management and business administration in UK and US. Let's welcome Dr. Ika. The mic is yours now.
Okay. Thank you. Good morning, everyone. I will share first my presentation. Okay.
Yeah. Yes, can you share your slide? Oh, yes, done.
That's done?
Yes.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, full screen, please.
Yes. Moment. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Thank you, everyone. Good morning again. This is an update what we have done for the last around 1 year, yeah, 1 year or more on the what we plan to be the implementation of toll collection system using multi-lane free flow. So this is basically an update. Next slide. Okay. Okay, so just start the presentation. At the moment, we have operation about 2,500 kilometers of toll road, mainly in Jakarta, in Java and Sumatra. And we have 45, basically 45 business entities, SPV, and then there is a 74 toll road section. Yeah. So this is going will continue to increase in several years ahead. So basically, we aim to double the figures within 4 or 5 years in the future. So you understand, we have less information, have a lot of congestion in the road, especially in the toll gates, based on some feasibility study. The cost of the congestion in the toll gates is about 300 million US dollar per annum. And then based on that, President Jokowi instruct the government, especially to Minister of Public Work and Housing, that this has to be changed to the modernized toll collection system, which he said basically payment through directly to the banks. Yeah. So this is the what we plan to be the building block of toll road management digital transformation. Basically, in the first is the big data analytic. Then we have the internal business process, infrastructure management, and then public information, general inquiry, serviceability around travelers. And then the one that we going to discuss today is the transaction of this multi-lane free flow. Yes. Okay. And then we have the asset management, the enforcement, and so on. Yeah. So this is basically the all the building blocks that we think important to modernize our especially in the toll road transportation system. Yeah. So I think this is what we think will be the importance of the MLFF. First, of course, to the eliminating congestion at the toll gates, especially in Jakarta and surrounding area, Surabaya and surrounding area. And then, of course, with eliminating a congestion, reducing vehicle pollution, and carbon emission, then the MLFF will support any electronic payment from various sources, so not only from the bank and also maybe credit card and wallet. And then we hope, based on our study, this will reduce the toll collection at the moment by the toll road company. It's at the moment they have to maintain and operate the gates, although that is already reduced quite significantly when we change from cash to electronic payment. And then at the end, we want to have the complete information on vehicle registration. So different from Taiwan, have not yet a solid vehicle registration. So by using artificial intelligence, we hope every car at the end will be on our system or our database. And then the most important thing is, of course, the social change toward more responsible user, because MLFF require the user to be active, on registration and top up of the availability of the payment. We have now passed the at the moment we still have the phase, and then we are going to have piloting or trial on the single lane free flow within this year. And then at the end, latest at the end of next year, we have finalized or complete the MLRF system. So basically, this is based on the Global Navigation Satellite System (GNSS), and then we are using smartphone as electronic onboard unit. We have appointed already through tender and so on the company from Hungary, and also this is based also on the G2G, Hungarian Indonesian cooperation. The company name is PT Rotax Indonesia Toll System. It's just established a year ago. Basically, we have a cooperation agreement for 10 years. The amount of investment estimated around more than $310. And then we have the target for MLFF system by December 2023. Okay, just this is a simple presentation, okay, so we have the scheme, basically the EOBU will send data to using satellite, similar to GPS, and then by that we know the vehicle route map, and then that will be identified in RIDS server, and then of course there will be enforcement unit, control camera in gantry, similar to one that you have in Taiwan, just presentation from Mr. Wu. And then we also have a mobile control unit for certain area that we think important. So there will be about 400 at the moment, from certain 80% of the current toll road. We expect to build around 440 gantry, for the control. Using and then the user will use electronic onboard unit using smartphone, or for certain vehicle that we think maybe the driver cannot afford the smartphone, and also, for example, truck, bus, and similar of that, will be provided onboard unit. So at the moment, onboard unit is not so expensive comparing to before. And then for certain user, we can use they can also buy electronic road ticket. So for example, the user is rarely using a toll road, they can just buy the certain payment for certain toll road in a certain day. Any violation, of course, will be processed through our system, and then at the end, we will go to the police for imposition of penalty and similar with that. Okay. So this is a comparison. Before we have the cash system until 2017, and then from 2017 to today, we still have the e-money, which is needed to be tapped to the reader in the toll gate. We have by MLFF, we have the this is will be multi-lane free flow, so there is no need the company the vehicle to stop, yeah, by using, as explained before, the electronic on board, which is require user registration and vehicle registration. They can pay by electronic wallet, debit card, credit card, and other payment method. And then, of course, after registration, directly the EOBU can be used. Then the second onboard unit, and then the last one is the electronic road ticket, as explained before. Yeah. So what important, I think similar to the Taiwan, yeah. What important, what can we do to make the people comply with the MLFF system? The one that we use as based on the expert on this, yeah, from Hungary and then also from Europe, that we have to increase the penalty of not compliance payment of the the toll fee. So this is just illustration at the moment. This is subject to approval by the higher authority from the government. So for example, for non-compliance but make payment within 2 days, then the penalty is 1.5 times of the toll fee. But once that passed to 2 weeks, then we impose 10 times of the toll fee, and then above 15 days above will be 30 times. Yeah. So this is only illustration, may not be accepted or maybe get some critics, yeah, from the population. At the moment, we are in the process with the police and with the other government entity to finalize the amount of the penalty. But we think the penalty is important, because otherwise, if too low, then that will be severely people will take the risk to make payment at the end of the year, yeah, through the car registration and car payment tax, yeah. So which is only done in normally in Indonesia once a year, unless there is change of the ownership. But sometimes change ownership also will be made later at the expiration of the tax vehicle tax. So this is will be risk to the toll road company. They have to wait 1 year to get the toll collection if unless the penalty is quite significant. Yeah. So this is we have this is just a non-technical description of the MLFF. We have the data center will be backup data, and then will be can be accessed by Minister of Public Work, of course by RITS, by the toll road company, and by the police and other system. Yeah, and data is coming from EOBU, OBU, road ticket, gantry, MCU, and so on. So unauthorized vehicle identified, and then if not making payment, that will be processed by the police. Yeah, of course, first by the company by sending the message reminder to as soon as possible. But if that still cannot be done, there will be enforcement, whether enforcement within a year or at the end will be collected through the tax vehicle tax payment annually. Of course, if there is the payment from the eligible vehicle, yeah, that will be directly every day will be transferred to the toll road company by the operator rates, yeah. So there will be the same situation by the toll road company as now.
你跟他提过了吗？我可以跟他提吗？他听得见吗？
Okay, this is the vehicle violation. So basically, what we call violation is not the vehicle is not registered with MLFF. Second,
One
not
more
making
minute,
toll-
please.
Okay, not making toll declaration as correctly. Balance of payment is not sufficient. Mistake in identifying the vehicle, and then plate number are not available or not eligible or false. Yeah. So that will be considered as a violation. This is what we think will be the illustration of the application in the smartphone on the MLFF. There will be account username, balance, add or remove vehicle, payment method, plate number, journey date. You can also add some feature like accident report, SOS, top up balance, and then we can contact the customer service, start the journey, ongoing journey, journey time, journey cost, and then if there is other information needed, for example, construction information on the toll road. Yeah. So we have maintained the 5 key indicator performance. One, of course, the accuracy of data, the vehicle transaction, and toll tariff must be 100%. Plate recognition 100%. Operated 24/7. And then if there is some changes in the tariff or additional lane, it must be can be done within 5 calendar days. And then as we said before, the payment to the toll road company or what we call Indonesia BUJT make it the same day. Yeah. At the moment, we are also planning MLFF to be included to include also the electronic toll law enforcement, and then secondly also with the overload and overdimension monitoring system. Yeah, so basically we have just recently tried to put a WIM, yeah, wait in motion, yeah, in certain toll road. So this may at the end can be combined with the MLFF and ATLE, but still that's in process. So basically that's the end of my presentation. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Ika. Very clear. We're looking forward to see the Indonesia and Taiwan can cooperate each other in the near future.
Okay, so stop sharing. Okay, moment. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. All right. So the next, let's move on the hot topics. Is in the ITS society, it's very famous. Everybody talking about mobility as a service. But first, I'd like to welcome the President Director of Jalinko, Indonesia. He's one of the famous public transport and integration company in Indonesia. He's also Secretary General of ITS Indonesia. Oh, his education is very wide. He's studying in the London, UK, also Michigan, US, and also economic and management in Sweden. Oh, his skill is innovation for changing the public transportation. Let's welcome Muhammad Kamiluddin. Kamil.
Thank you, Murphy, for the introduction. Good morning, distinguished speakers, Mr. Richard, Dr. Eka, and all ladies and gentlemen, distinguished speakers, and also participants of ITS Indonesia and ITS Taiwan bilateral webinar. It's a great pleasure for me to introduce about mobility as a service in Indonesia, which is also, I think, is a continuation of what was presented by Mr. Richard and also Dr. Eka. Before I start my presentation, I will play one video. And okay, I will play one video about what is already happening in mobility service in Indonesia.
It's 5 a.m. in Bekasi. People are preparing their days while secretly hoping that today will be better than yesterday. This is Lisa, one of millions of Jakarta workers, who will start their day by commuting from their home in Bekasi to their workplace. She is working in the SCBD area and should be arrived there by 8. She started the day with a cup of coffee and pick up her smartphone to opens the Jaklingko super app to put an order for today's commuting plan. She input her home and office into the desired trip plan. With an instant, Jaklingko super app give her options. The cheapest route where she can choose the most economic price. The fastest route where she can choose the fastest and convertible route. And park and ride combo where she can combine park and ride facilities with the commuting ticket. Today, she just wants to drive to the station and left her car there, so she picks the third option. She does the final check of the ticket. Parking and commuting in one ticket, everything looks great. Perfect. And then she goes to the payment. Jaklingko super app provides multiple payment methods, from the local wallet, debit, and even QRIS. This is very easy for Lisa. She chooses the best one and then is all set. Now it's time to take a bath and prepare for the journey. Driving to the park and ride is easy. Arriving at the parking location, she activates the QR on her smartphone and scan it to the entrance gate. There you go. Special pricing for the whole day. In the station, she activates her QR code and Jaklingko super app will identify that this is the second transit. Lisa went to the gate and easily scanned the QR to board the train. Beautiful. She soon arrived at the Duku Atas MRTJ station. Again, she activates the QR code and directly scans the QR code to the passenger gate. Everything is quick and easy. While riding through the tunnels, Jaklingko super app informs Lisa that this is her 21st trip, so she received a promotion voucher at Uncle Bob's Pretzels in Senayan MRTJ station. It is great that the Jaklingko super app identifies the trip and gives her the exact promotion based on the trip. Of course, Lisa happily takes the offering. Arrived in the Senayan MRTJ station, and after grabbing the pretzels, she informed by the Jaklingko super app that her ride-hailing driver already waiting at the exit door. She arrived at the office 10 minutes earlier, with a full stomach and a happy face. Thank you, Jaklingko super app. Today is better than ever.
So that is the video of our application that is already happening now, and we are working on the expansion of that service to other cities as well. I will continue with the presentation of how we get there, what is the context of mobility as a service in Indonesia, as well as the challenges and also the key success factors of how to make it happen. So I will start with the program of ITS Indonesia and where mobility as a service. And as Murphy mentioned, this is a hot topic for ITS around the world, and also in ITS Indonesia, this is our top priority. As Dr. William Sabandar mentioned this morning, we have 5 top priorities, and from those 5, 3 are related to mobility as a service. One is digital transformation for transport development. Second one is integrated urban transport system. And the last one is on safety and health mobility through digital solution. So how we get there, how we established Jaklingko Indonesia. It was a long journey from the establishment point of view, but it was a short journey from technical point of view. We did a lot of acceleration. So from the establishment point of view, we start with the memorandum of understanding between the Ministry of Transport, the Jakarta Province Government, the Central Bank, the public transport operators to integrate payment system. And then this cooperation between local government and the central government continues. Jaklingko itself was a brand that was announced by provincial government, but it was adopted and it was announced in the instruction from the Indonesian president in the meeting with the relevant minister cabinet and the governor meeting in March 2019, that the integration of Jakarta transport system in terms of payment and digital system must happen and coordinated by Jakarta government. And then there was a shareholder agreement to form this company of Jaklingko Indonesia, and the shareholders are the public transport operators in Jakarta. I will show it later. And the legal establishment of Jaklingko Indonesia was done in 30th December 2020. So we are a young company, but we have done a lot of things. We have accelerated the technical implementation of mobility as a service, and it was first announced as the standard payment card and the standard mobile application in September 2021 by the transport, by the Minister of State-owned Enterprise, and also by the government, by the governor of Jakarta. And I will try to explain the context of the challenge of integrating transport in Jakarta. Of course, public transport. However, in terms of mobility, their share is still limited. If you can see here, there is still other operators like private operators, and also people own motorcycles, and then cars, and also taxis. So we have to integrate all of them together and try to push them toward public transport more often. And we are actually to be the first in integrating public transport operator and private transport operator, including the ride-hailing companies in one application. And as you can see here, actually the behavior of the passengers of public transport in Indonesia, they mix the transport modes a lot. The majority, they use the trips frequency per journey is at least 5 times. So meaning that in one day, they combine 5 different modes to go from home to office, and then from office to home. And some of them use 3 to 4 trips or 2 trips. And also the purpose of the main public transport users are going to work and for, let's say, for tourism, for leisure, and also for business, for those who are in the trading sector and so forth. And then the statistic of passengers, as you know, as you are aware, that Indonesia is also is a middle income country. So most of the people can afford to buy motorcycles, and so many of them already owns a car. So we need incentive to push them toward public transport, and mobility as a service is the solution to push them toward that, because the mobility as a service can provide a bundling fare. So instead of adding up the fare for each mode of transport, mobility as a service such as Jaklingko Indonesia can give them a lower fare if the passenger is mixing between one mode and another. And we started by preparing the bundled fare for public transport operator that I will mention later. And then, of course, in order to make it happen, we need support from the regulation point of view, and there are 4 main regulations that is already in place. The first one is the presidential decree that mandate to implement the integrated intermodal payment system for Greater Jakarta that consists of 5 different cities, and these 5 different cities also consist of 5 different local government. And because of this presidential decree, we can do the integration across this border of cities. And then there is also a Jakarta provincial law on the integrating transportation system across public transport operator. And to give you a context, public transport operators in Indonesia is either owned by the central government as well as owned by the local government. And this provincial law is important because there is a mandate to integrate both the local owned operators and also the national owned operators. And then below that again, it is translated again in the Jakarta Governor Decree to give the assignment to the local transport system, local transport operators. In this case, the Mass Rapid Transport Jakarta. Transportation Jakarta is the road-based bus rapid transit system in Jakarta, the biggest one for bus operator. And also Jakarta Propertindo is the operator for light rail transit. And they are mandated to create this company called Jaklingko to integrate multimodal transportation payment system for their payment system, as well as to integrate with the nationwide operator, which is Kereta Api Indonesia own Kereta Komuter Indonesia for the suburban railway. And then there is another governor decree that give us the basis to start preparing the bundled fare implementation to give that incentive to give the passenger the lower fare if they combine many modes of transport in the mobility as a service. And this is the structure of Jaklingko Indonesia, which is owned by the three public transport operator owned by the city or municipality owned public transport operators that was mandated by the governor decree that I mentioned. And also with the nationwide central government owned transport operator, which are mainly in railways. And most of the owners or shareholders own like 20% to 40%. And in order to accelerate the implementation, we also did a tender in late 2020 and finished in March 2021. It was an international tender, and we selected a consortium of Jatelindo, Aino, two Indonesian company and two French company, Thales and Laiko, in one consortium to support us in the commitment of the CapEx and OpEx, as well as their technical expertise in doing the ticket integration, in doing the bundle fare solution, and also the data integration that is significantly or strategically needed by the central government as well as the local government in the smart city project. And then we also have to make sure these stakeholders are all aligned, in which the regulators from the DKI Jakarta, the Minister of Transport, as well the shareholders, the transport operators. So the shareholders also play a role as a transport operator, and also the strategic partner, the consortium that support us to provide investment, as well as other strategic partners, the private operators that will join the ecosystem in Jaklingko. And then there is this concept of mobility as a service in developing Jaklingko, whereby our solution can give the passenger the ability to plan the journey, whatever their mobility needs, so they can choose the point of origin and the point of destination, and let the application or the system give the recommendation of all mode of transport, the cheapest option or the fastest option, and also the mix between public transport operator and people-owned vehicles, like the park and ride system that I showed in the video before. And Jaklingko, as I mentioned, need to give this incentive for people to move to public transport, as therefore there is also integration of society goals. It is supported by the policies, incentives, in addition to the integration of service offered, the booking and payment, and also the information, all in one system. So we are aiming high in the solution, the highest level possible for the mobility as a service, and so far it works, and we will continue joining, asking other operators to join the ecosystem. And of course, there are stages of implementation, and we have 3 phases of implementation in Jakarta, the first pilot of this implementation. And in phase 1, we have done the central clearinghouse system, which is the system that can combine the ticketing processing from all operators and do the calculation of the integrated fare, and then do the apportionment for each operator and do the processing with the banks and the source of funds. And then there is also Jaklingko integrated ticket card. And this is important to note that in Indonesia, there are already many card issuer, and what we provide here is the standard for the ticket card that everyone must follow. So if at this moment there is a ticket issuer from the National Railway Company that become one of the standardized card that is already in the system. And we are coordinating with the banks to also modify the ticket card to make sure that it can join the system. What we put in the standard is the history of modes used for each passenger. Therefore, we can calculate the integrated fare based on distance, whatever modes that they use. And then mobility as an application service also is already launched. And for September, it was for single trip modal, multimodal payment. So people can choose from origin to destination. And the application will give the option, and the passenger will choose what option he would like to use. Do the payment, and the application will give the QR code, one QR code that can be used across public transport operator. And then there is phase 2 that we are looking forward to launch in end of March. There will be the official launch of the integrated fare, will be the distance base for Jakarta public transport system, which is much lower compared to the single mode price. And then we will also look forward to launch concession tickets. So people who are willing to register based on their national ID will be profiled based on whether they are disabled passenger or whether they are students, whether they are elderly passenger, and of course there are different incentive, lower price for each of the profile. There are 15 profile that we are aiming to implement. And then expand mobility as a service to other operators. There is already one ride-hailing already signed a contract with us. And soon there will be another ride-hailing to join us. There is a private bus operator also to join us this month. There are many other operators that we are looking forward to join in the future. And of course, the inclusion of the first mile, last mile will help us to attract more private vehicle users to move to public transport users. And then in phase 3, there will be integration between card and application, what we call the account-based ticketing, in which we will combine the best of both worlds between the chip-based and the server-based payment. And the card will be tokenized, and the balance will be stored in the application. So it is easier to top up the balance, but it is faster to do the payment itself when they tap the card. And then we will also launch period passes, for example, a weekly pass, monthly pass that people can use for a fixed price for each mode, for all mode of transport. And this is a peace of mind for daily commuter or regular commuter. And then just a high-level overview of the architecture, how we accelerate the implementation. We didn't replace all the infrastructure that is already in the public transport operator, so we modify or upgraded. And the middle system, like level 2, is still owned and operated by transport operators. So we modify partially, and we develop level 1, the central clearinghouse, which is operated by us purely. So this approach can accelerate the implementation faster, and we also have the support from the policy that I mentioned in the beginning that can accelerate this process. I know in other cities or other countries, the technical implementation of the central clearinghouse took probably more than a year. But we essentially in Jaklingko, because we established in December, we started the project truly in April, and we first launched the central clearinghouse in September last year. So it's a very short period. It's a very good acceleration, and so far the system is already approved by the central banks. And we look forward to implement it in other cities. The application and the card standard is issued by Jaklingko, and the mobility as a service application is developed and operated by Jaklingko and consortium. And this application can continue to receive the new operators who would like to join the system. And as I mentioned, there is a first mile and last mile that will come in phase 2. One retailing is already confirmed. Hopefully, another one will continue. Tomorrow, I will also sign a contract with another bus operator other than the 4 operators that is already in the system. And also taxis, all feeders, we are looking forward to welcome them in our system. And there are also further enhancement on like what we put in the video that that's combine the travel and the transport purpose and the city experience, like in culinary and then delivery service, bike sharing, even the health passport. We have integrated the health passport for COVID in our application, so people don't have to open another system to do the check-in, check-out, and it complies with the Minister of Health system. Is already integrated with them. There will be also e-commerce. There will also be events. We are appointed as the ticketing system for Jakarta International Stadium, in which that ticket will be used to enter the stadium as well as to purchase the transport from the point of origin to the stadium and return to their home or their residence. And then tourist destination, digital content, news. There's a lot of features that can be done in the system. However, the welcome screen always prioritize the mobility as the main purpose of this application. And then in the future, also, the application of Jaklingko is looking forward to be implemented in other cities. We are already working with the Minister of Transport and preparing for integration in Palembang, which already operate light rail transit. They already have light rail transit for in city and between city and the airport. Bali also looking forward to integrate. We are already talking with the local government. And of course, other cities we are anticipating, for example, Yogyakarta, Semarang, Solo, Bandung, Medan. We are looking forward to implement. There are hundreds of cities that can be part of the integration. And we even hope that it can be used for cross-border transportation, because like in Kalimantan, there is a bus service that travel from Indonesia to Malaysia and reverse. So there is a lot of opportunity out there, and of course we will also welcome support from new partners and new service in developing in this nationwide and cross-border ecosystem in the future. So if the last one is the showcase of Jaklingko as the digital transformation in subsector transportation in the G20 Indonesia, and also we will be part of the showcase in the digital festival organized by Indonesian Central Bank in 2022. And one of the value that we want to showcase is this is the first mobility as a service that completely integrate the first mile, last mile with the public transport services. And as you know, in Indonesia, first mile, last mile is also as important as the public transport services as a backbone system. So that is my presentation. Again, Shishinin, thank you very much for the opportunity to do this presentation, and I look forward for cooperation with members of ITS Taiwan. Thank you very much indeed. I'll give it back to Murphy.
Thank you, Kamel, for the excellent presentation. Not only in Indonesia, in Taiwan, the government is also promoting MaaS to provide user-central platform. I now invite the speaker from Taiwan, Dr. Jianbang Liu, Director of ITS Taiwan. He has a PhD in UCL, University College London. In the last 3 years, he's chief officers ITS department from MOTC, in charge of all the ITS budget, and also in charge of MaaS as well. So just 1 week ago, he promoted to Deputy Director, Transportation Bureau of Kaohsiung City Government. So let's welcome Dr. Liu, share with us.
Thank you very much for Murphy-san's introduction, and I'm very appreciated for the Kamaluddin's presentation. Okay, I can see that from your presentation, you have already had a very clear future about your MaaS development. And so for me, my presentation today, I will give you some of our experience as Murphy-san's introduction. A week ago, I worked for the MOTC, Ministry of Transportation and Communication, and I'm in charge of the MaaS development in the central government. And after that, now I transferred to Kaohsiung city government. So the other project, MaaS project in Kaohsiung City Park government is the Mango. And so for local government and for central government, what's the role for a different kind of government? Maybe I can share some experience to you, and we can have some discussion after the presentation. So my presentation today will include 4 parts, but I will skip the first part because we all understand. And from the video from the Indonesia side, we can see understand what is MaaS, what is MaaS for. So I skip the first part, the mobility as a service for operators view and for the customers view. But the very important issue is the value proposition. So we all understand the integration service is to support the travelers' travel needs, for the commuting needs, for business travel, for their going home, for the weekend leisure travel. So how to fulfill this goal is quite important. Okay, so move on to the second part, what we have done and what we have had in Taiwan. So as you can see that in Taiwan, we got very prosperous transportation modes in our intercity side and in the local city. So we have the high-speed rail, we have traditional rail, and in the city side, we have very convenient city bus service. And also, due to the ICT development, recent years, it's quite prosperous for our shared mobility, especially for our U-bike, share bike, and also share motorbike. And you can see that share motorbike we will have a presentation later, Go Share and Wemo and iRent. And also for the car manufacturer like Toyota, they have moved into the MaaS market. So they offer taxi service and also a car rental service and a motorcycle rental service. And this kind of service, all you can access from the mobile interface. So you don't have to go to the store to rent a car. You can book on your mobile interface and access and then to get your car from the mobile applications. So, but this kind of service, they all still segmented. so it hasn't been integrated. So what's the goal for the MaaS in Taiwan? We try to some preliminary achievement I can share you later. So this is still, we have the diversified transport modes market, and also we have very prosperous and very competitive payment service in Taiwan. We have Line Pay, Taiwan Pay, etc., and also very convenient credit card payment. And for the more add value service is kind of how to connect MaaS service to like travel tourism service. So like the Lion Travel and the Calux Travel, they're all very interested in to be connected or to be integrated or to be collaborate with our MaaS service. So that's our opportunity to develop MaaS service in Taiwan. So far we have Mango service in Kaohsiung, and we have like monthly package service in Taipei. So monthly service package in Taipei is we call semi MaaS service, because they still use the contact smart card to access to the service. They buy the ticket and use the contact smart card. We call easy card. But in Kaohsiung, the Mango service, we call it MaaS service, because the customer can buy the service through the mobile interface, and then now they use the contact smart card. We call 一卡通, but we have already built the QR code service in Kaohsiung City. So we will move on next stage to move the Mango service to QR code service this year. Okay. So let me give more detail about the Mango service. The Mango service is the initiated by the Kaohsiung City government and collaborated with the IoT in Taiwan. This Mango service, we integrate the public transport, include like MRT and the city bus as the corridor service. And also we integrate the first mile and last mile service, as Kalamadin, you mentioned how to fulfill the origin to destination, their travel needs. So the share bike, like U-Bike, and also Wemo, iRent, and Yuda share motorbike is also included in this service. And also we integrate taxi service in this service. So people can, customer can use about 1,299 to unlimited access to all this kind of service. Okay, and we all understand the first mile and last mile is very important. So last year we tried to introduce a carpool service for taxi carpool service to our high school students. So this kind of service, we built a platform to to allow the high school student to reserve taxi service, and the reservation, they allow 2 or 3 customers to carpool, use the taxi pool service. So this kind of service, they have triple benefits to the customer, to the platform operator, and also to the taxi driver, because through the taxi carpool, the customer can reduce their payment, and the taxi driver, they can get more pay from the individual payment than the total sum. Some payment is more than individual payment. And also for the platform operator, they can get some service charge from this service. So this service also included in our Mango service. We have already had this trial, and we'll gradually include this kind of service to the Mango service. So for Mango service, I should also mention the next stage. This year, we will upgrade our Mango service to Mango 2.0. At the 2.0, we will introduce a QR code to allow people to buy the Mango package online and use QR code to access to all the transport modes. So in the past 2 years, Kaohsiung City have do the infrastructure, like as you say, digital transformation infrastructure. We build the QR code reader in all our transport modes, like metro, bus, and taxi, and the other service, etc. So people can. So we will upgrade our Mango apps this year to 2.0, and then. And also, the quite important is we will introduce new multi-model journey planner in this app. So this new journey planner, we will collaborate with MOTC with their UMarch project. Okay, then we will build an upgrade service. I will tell you later on. So move on to the central government project. As I work for the MOTC, we have the other project we call UMarch. The project we focus on the same as you mentioned. We call complete trip concept. How to fulfill the travel's need from the origin to destination. So you can see that in the intercity or in the corridor, we have like a high-speed rail, we have traditional rail, and also intercity bus. But for the first mile and last mile, we have to integrate the share mode and also taxi and the other kind of transport modes. So how to combine this kind of service? We need a strong, very strong journey planner. That's quite important issue for the connecting of this kind of very diversified transport modes. So for the central government, the MOTC, the UMarch project, we are now doing to create our localized journey planner. This localized journey planner, I will use the I think this slide to tell you. So the basic, we have had our public transport data exchange platform. Use the platform, we integrate more than 8,000 bus routes and 65,000 terminal stops into our journey planner. And this kind of journey planner, they can be extended to the other transport. Like we also collaborate with the iRent, the motorcycle sharing and the car rental service into our journey planner. So in this kind of journey planner, they can have the extension to the other transport mode. Okay, so for the central government, our vision is to build the ecosystem, how to collaborate with the private sector and also the public transport agencies into this kind of ecosystem. They can have the same goals or fulfill our policies. So the basic is to integrate our public mass with the transport service provider, and then we want to collect the data from all the users use the bus service, and we can do our transportation system management and operations through the mass service. Okay, and then we also provide the public engines like as I mentioned, the journey planner, intermodal journey planner, and also a car rental, carpooling, patching service through public engine to our private sectors. And then they can use our public engines to build their mass service. Okay, so this figure shows the structure of the MOTC, the mass service. So I want to mention a very important point. So for the central government, after years of the introducing mass, we understand that the central government, we won't do the mass operate. but we can be the facilitator to facilitate the mass development. So what's the needs for the mass development? We think that the first is data, and the second one is the public engine. Like
can we have 2 more minutes?
Okay, okay. Journey planner. So we build a journey planner for our mass operators, and then we give the API to our private sectors to connect to the public sector, include the shared mobility and carpooling or dispatching service through API. Okay, I've mentioned this. So this figure for our intermodal journey planner. So this some illustration of the journey planner we created by the MOTC. Okay, so we will integrate the public transport and first mile, last mile into the engine for the use of our private sector to build their mass service. Okay, and then we think the other important job for the government is to build in and mass alliance in Taiwan. So this task, the MOTC will collaborate or cooperate with ITS Taiwan to build this alliance. So we have a request for the ITS Taiwan to initiate a mass task force in ITS Taiwan. So this task force will do the regulation, business model, and how to raise their awareness, how to improve their trust between the industries. Okay, the mass alliance will include government organizations, private sector, and also some university and innovative organizations. So through the mass alliance, we can see the core is the transfer service provider and the payment gateway. And also we will extend to the other application service like a location-based service, hotel, dining, shopping, etc. to build a profitable mass service. Okay. That's what we are doing, and we look for the future of our mass development in Taiwan. That's my presentation. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Liu. Yeah, so we have a little bit running out of time. So let's invite next speaker, Dr. Alan Takudong. Yes, he's a transportation expert. So let's welcome.
Thank you, moderator. Good morning, distinguished guests. Good morning, participants, ladies and gentlemen. I will like to thank holding this knowledge sharing webinar electronic travel enforcement. Development of digital transportation ecosystem, Indonesia has been developed electronic traffic law enforcement or ETLE. ETLE implements technology that will record violation in electronic information to support security and safety. By utilizing advances in technology and information in the future, ETLE is expected to be the front line of law enforcement in the traffic sector. ETLE will also affect the culture of the people who are more comply with the traffic regulation because they know several cameras in places and that can capture violence. Yeah, background of ETLE implementation in Indonesia. almost in all big cities and also cities, motor there's right violation behind the present. There are often differences of opinion between police officer and violator about the offense. In reality, statistics show that most traffic accidents occur due to violations. And the rapid growth of the vehicle population and the level of mobility already required
Sorry, Alan.
traffic management
Alan,
in
your
terms of
signal is not stable. Can you turn off your camera and leave your sounds?
Yeah, yeah. Okay. Okay, okay. Minute.
Yes.
Okay?
Yes, perfect.
Okay. The important thing about the ETLE is electronic registration and identification developed by traffic police. Motor vehicle registration platform. This is ERE is a motor vehicle registration platform distributed throughout Indonesia and nationally centralized in Korlantas, Traffic Police Corps Office. Various data from electronic registration and identification are the first important data used by ETLE. The matching between photo evidence of vehicles violating traffic with ERI data is very important to ensure the confirmation letter process reach the vehicle owner's address. This is the ETLE mechanism. You can see the picture here, the graphics here. If there is a traffic violation at the spot that can be captured by the installed camera, we mentioned as ETLE camera, the camera and the installed device will automatically carry out an analysis of the violation that occurred. Then the verification officer at the back office will issue a confirmation letter. The confirmation letter will send to the vehicle owners registered with ERI. The vehicle owners could make further confirmation via web service or come to the police office. If there is no confirmation, the back office officer will block the vehicle registration number certificate, or we call it STNK, of the car, and the back office officer will send bank code via text or email, so the violator could pay the fine. The process finished, but if no fine payment, the vehicle registration number certificate will be blocked. Next, I will present the ETLE program at Polda Metro Jaya, means Jakarta and surrounding areas. One of the important factors in carrying out legal action electronically is evidence of violation recorded electronically. November 2019, ETLE Polda Metro Jaya installed to answer the transformation from manual law enforcement to utilizing the information technology. The evidence of violation that has been recognized by the criminal justice systems are breaking the traffic light rules, violate the road markings, use cell phone while driving, not wearing seatbelt, violation of traffic restraint. In Jakarta, we have traffic restraint or even number plate, or riders motorcycle riders not wearing helmet. In addition, to evidence of violation in the form of image, other evidence used in ETLE are date and time of incident, exact location where the camera installed, number plate, and type of car or motorcycle, the color, the brand, the symbol, etc. This is the picture of one set of ETLE equipment across the road. From the right side, there is infrared light supporting lamp to capture violation at nighttime. And then there is artificial intelligence camera, which will capture the violation automatically and the number plate recognition. And then there is a strobe light or flashlight, day lamp to capture violation as not to use seatbelt or on the cell phone. And then there is portal pole where the device, lamp, and camera placed, and a panel box, protective box for network and electricity. Technical standard for ETLE network. ETLE devices are camera and its support system, which is used to automatically recognize the phenomenon of traffic violations. The network is the data paths that will be traversed related to ETLE. Camera network will use Metro Closed Ethernet configuration. This network will adjust to the topology of ETLE system that nationally integrated. Setting of the address of each device will help smooth and secure its data. Sorry. Yeah, learn from experience ETLE implementation in Jakarta Metropolitan. The recommended system are front-end analytic. First one is front-end analytic, means determination of the violation traffic is provided by support system of the camera in the location, so that remains recorded and stored before being sent to the back office. And ENPR, automated number plate recognition, automatic number plate reading system. The third one is data, metadata in the form of text containing a description of the violation, such as where, when, and the type of violation. Media, data in the form of photos or videos that can be used for analysis, issuance of confirmation letters to settlement of violations. And web service, function provided by the system so that the data can be transacted as needed in an integrated and secure manner. Technical standard for ETLE at central office. ETLE at the central office becomes a bridge for cross-regional data transaction and will become a data center that is integrated into various data sources for traffic violation prosecution. That is national driving license, electronic registration and identification, ERI, electronic violation evidence, banking system, court ruling or criminal justice system, residency records. It is also a system that will be utilized by all working units at Korlantas and I mean the police corps and national level stakeholders. The ETLE program nationally is one of the priority program of the National Police Chief. We call it PRECISI, that is predictive, responsibility, transparency, and fairness. The establishment of National ETLE Task Force to assist socialization related to the national standards and mechanism. And they have regional assistance, regional implementation, and launching. Launching is important events in the implementing of regional ETLE nationally. This graphics describe the public opinion towards the implementation of ETLE in Indonesia. We can see here the share of voice by sentiment. The positive sentiment are mentioned by 87% of the voices. Now let me go to the evaluation of the ETLE system in Indonesia. This table describes data for evaluation and this analysis of ETLE at 12 Polda or provinces in Indonesia. As an example, in Metro Jaya is Jakarta and surrounding area. In April 21, there are 97 of camera location, and from 59 of camera will show the about 9.94% decrease of violation in April 21 and so on. But there is 25 cameras are constrained. And there are data from another 11 Polda or provinces in Yogyakarta, central of Jawa, East Jawa, West Jawa, Banten, Riau, Jambi, Sumatera Barat, Lampung, South Sulawesi, and North Sulawesi. We come to the conclusion. The implementation of ETLE was held rationally with great efforts from both the Traffic Coordination Unit, Korlantas, and the Regional Traffic Directorate, or we call it Ditlantas. Since 2016, the implementation of e-tilang electronic violation evidence, and 2018, the regional ETLE, and 2021, the national ETLE. From the evaluation and analysis of 12 Polda who have taken action using the national ETLE, there has been 67% decrease in traffic violation on roads with camera installed, and a decrease in the number of accidents by 89%. The behavior of drivers and riders have also become obey the rules and more orderly. This is the end of my presentation. Would like to give the reference of my presentation is from study of national ETLE by Indonesia Traffic Police Corps atau Korlantas in Indonesia National Police. That's all. Thank you for your. Thank you, moderator, and thank you for all.
Thank you. Thank you, Professor Allen, for the presentation. Okay, last but not the least, so we like to invite very successful Gogoro Go Share, Henry Zhang, to share with us. Go.
Thank you, Murphy. Let me share my screen. Okay, so hello, all the distinguished speaker and everyone. I'm Henry from Gogoro. It's a great honor for me to participate as a speaker today. The topic I would like to share is electric scooter and sharing economy. At Gogoro, we believe in technology innovation. We believe the solution to the tomorrow cities is to change how people use and share energy. So with that in mind, we have innovated from three perspectives. First, the global standard in alternate fuel through battery swapping, the leading edge of urban mobility through reinvent electric two-wheeler, and a smarter way to get around through fractional ownership, or most of the people will say sharing economy. Now, the center of our innovation is energy and battery swapping, Gogoro network. We have constructed the world's largest battery swapping network and support more than 450,000 riders who decide to go electric and use electric scooter as their daily instruments. The left-hand side Gogoro Smart Scooter represent the full ownership of the vehicle, and the right-hand side GoShare represent the fractional ownership of the vehicle. We believe that GoShare is the fastest way to mass adoption of the electric revolution. And also we believe that sharing service combined mass transportation could help to build a smarter and more flexible mobility in the cities. GoShare is the world's first end-to-end mobility sharing solution. Let me explain a little more why we call it end-to-end. Because most of the sharing service, they usually bought an electric scooter from a manufacturer and they build an app, and then they ask people to milk run the battery to support the charging, and everything is purchased from different stakeholders. And our system is fully integrated. So we build a scooter, we build a charging station, we build a battery, and also we build an app, and also the engine behind an app and the management console to operate the fleet. And from customer journey perspective, we can provide a cohesive end-to-end services. We have three different mode of services. The center one is everybody very familiar with, is a free floating. You can pick up and drop up a scooter from the roadside wherever available. And the left-hand side, the station base, is more like a U-bike model in Taiwan. And the right-hand side is a solution for business to go electric and also kick off their ESG program. And we provide a diverse scooter option to serve different mobility needs. So from L1 to L3, our fleet combines different solutions. And since we already have a 2,200 Go station across Taiwan, our customer usually swap the battery on behalf of us. And the reason why we encourage our customer to swap the battery is that if you want to maintain the same service level with the total amount of scooter, you need to charge the scooter as soon as possible. And there's no way that an operator can charge the scooter as fast as the customer swap the battery on behalf of us. So we encourage our riders to take advantage of our Go station already constructed around the island and to help themselves to get rid of the range anxiety, but also maintain the fleet service level. In just 2 years, we cover 6 cities with the city government's approval in Taiwan. And we cover, and also we serve one of the longest green tourism route called Route to Taiwan in the north of the Taipei. And we are the world's fastest growing electric scooter sharing service. By the end of last year, we already have a 1.3 million registered user. And we are also the most popular mobility sharing service. In Taiwan, in average, we have 20 rentals per minute, and total distance is like 62 million, and more than 16 million total trips. And I think GoShare is a critical role in driving urban sustainability for saving more than 5 million kilograms carbon CO2. Yeah. So with the strong foundation in consumer market, we also kick off a GoShare partner program launched in 2020. GoShare has successfully enlarged the business portfolio with government and partners. And we believe that corporations plays a crucial role in building cleaner and smarter cities. So we also work with like Microsoft, Visa, and also Far Eastern and insurance company like Nansan, and retail store, the Breeze and Domino's, and also Gojek in Indonesia to use our solution to help them build their EV fleet. Gojek aims to find the most suitable go-to-market solution in order to achieve their net zero ambitions. So they have worked with us. We provide them a turnkey solution with a pilot program, 250 units of electric vehicle, and also we have construct full battery swapping station in Jakarta, work with Pertamina in South Jakarta. And we provide a tailor-made business plans to help our customers set up the customized geofencing area to reserve to return, considering the parking spaces of malls or hypermarket or campus, and everything is digitalized. You don't need to do the key fob management. You just need to use the app to control everything, and the operator can control all the scooter through a management console. And we also have a strong brand awareness with a co-branded scooter to create a positive awareness of the introduction of the electric vehicle. And we want to build a platform and work with different partners to realize our vision for sustainable urban mobility. We work with government to fulfill the national green visions. Like we work with Yunlin. Yunlin is one of the agricultural county in Taiwan. They are not very, they usually, people won't think of the sharing scooter will serve in a county like this, but we work with their government to build a fleet for them to go electric and to improve the air quality. And also we work with different corporate to enhance their CSR and also their ESG goal. And also we work with different venture to give them a little taste of the local electric scooter market before I expand more in this category. So here's my presentation. Thank you.
Thank you, Henry. Yeah, it's really excited for us. I think because the time is almost up, so I'm asking, can I leave it to the questions? I'll leave it to Philip or William. 1 or 2 questions or any comments from your side, please.
Yeah, I think this is a very fruitful a webinar where each country are showing their best. where each question for Kamal for the mass part. The mass in Indonesia integrated a lot of parties and implemented in a very short period of time. What are the successful factors to make that happen?
Yes, thank you, Philip, for the question. The very important foundation for MAS in Indonesia is the initiation of the strong regulation from the government to open up the critical mass for developing mobility as a service. We need to start with the public, with the main public transport operator to make it sound and attractive enough for the other players to join the ecosystem. So that initiation is very important, and that collaboration between the central government and the local government in aligning the regulation. So there is a push for the public transportation operators to start with the first phase of the mobility as a service, and then the business model that we have with the public, with the private operators is also quite attractive for the private operators to join in as well. So to have a standard business model is important. And the last part is the other ecosystem that support mobility as a service. In Indonesia, the electronic money ecosystem has been developed very advanced in the past. There are so many banks, so many electronic money providers already operating in the past. We have to embrace them as well in the same ecosystem. So by having this digital platform is the key of the success in mobility as a service in Indonesia. That is my answer. Thank you, Philip.
Okay, thank you, Kamal.
Philip, do you have others?
No, exactly. No. Yeah.
Okay. Also, how about the Secretary General on behalf of ITS Indonesia? You have some comments or any questions?
Yes, again, I'm commenting on behalf of ITS Indonesia, on behalf of Dr. William. I think this is also in line with what Philip mentioned. This is a very valuable session for ITS Indonesia to understand what is happening in ITS Taiwan and what are the possible points of collaboration that we can pursue in the future. So this session has provided a very comprehensive information from each members of ITS Taiwan and ITS Indonesia. And I think it generated several ideas already from each members, and we look forward for more cooperation between members of ITS Indonesia and ITS Taiwan for international relationship in the future. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, I think I'd like to thank all the speakers and participants. Hope we can see each other face to face in LA, in Indonesia, or in Taiwan. So I'll say, yeah, this the webinar is done. Thank you. 再见 and Samboy Jumba. Am I right? Samboy Jumba.
Sampai jumpa.
Samboy Jumba. Bye
Sampai
bye.
jumpa.
See you next time.
Sampai jumpa. Okay.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank
you. Bye.
Bye. Bye.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Okay, thank you. See you.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
See you soon.
Bye.
See you guys soon.